Hello and welcome to Pro Wrestling 101. I am your host, JP John Poz. With me today is a very special guest. He is the man behind the K100 YouTube. He obviously has his own show. It's Hugheszy. Hello. He is Mr. Hughesley, according to Conan. He is Adam Hughes. Hugheszy, welcome to the Two-Man Power Trip, aka Pro Wrestling 101. How you doing?
You have caught me on a foul mood today. Just a few minutes before we recorded this, I should say a couple of hours ago, AC/DC released the new music video for the song Mists of Time, which is a very strange thing to do because it's like the fifth or sixth single from a video from an album that came out in November, and everybody thought it was going to be announcing the tour dates, and no, it's just a very low budget video, and I'm fucking furious. It was completely pointless.
Damn it. The last time that they did a tour, my buddy lives in Florida. He used to live up here years and years ago, but he lives in Florida. The last time they did a tour at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, he literally flew up for it and whatever. So I was like, oh, I heard the AC/DC might be coming back. We got all excited, and we're like, oh, never mind. I guess you're not coming up. It's just a stupid music video of like the seventh best song on the album. It's like, God damn it.
Yeah, but the thing that's so frustrating is what the fuck is keeping them? Like, it's pretty much been confirmed by everybody but them that the tour is happening next year. Like, we know that it's happening, so fucking get it going.
And I know back when Brian Johnson has issues, they had Axl Rose doing the tour. That didn't even count as a tour. It erased that. That didn't count. You got to get back and get to business here, guys. Come on.
Yeah, and even that whole last tour, the Rocker Bus tour, there'd been all this talk that they were going to release a double live album. They were going to do a Brian Johnson one and an Axl one, but we ended up getting nothing. But it's frustrating. And see, the problem is they're going to take so long to announce the tour that people will have already made plans for next year. And then it's going to be a whole lot of, oh shit, what do we do? Do we cancel this vacation? Do we not go to that show? Do we do this? And it's like, because AC/DC comes first. I've told friends of mine, it's just, if you have weddings or whatever, fuck your wedding. Your wife's ugly. I'm going to see the boys.
Yes, hell yeah. Damn right. They are the best. If anybody's never seen them in concert, oh man, you're missing. They are the best. Music-wise, production-wise, everything.
Yeah,
they're awesome.
Yeah, and plus it's tens of thousands of people going ape shit bananas, two monkey puns back to back, for like 2 hours to some of the greatest songs that we're never going to hear again because that type of rock is dead. It's all shit, hippie woke shit.
I agree, totally agree. And I was on It's Hugheszy Hello a while back, and I like some random ass songs. I was told almost too random, but I'm such a big fan. I know, all the hits. I've heard them like maybe too many times, maybe 2 million times. So I like all the random shit. But man, they're the best, especially in concert. Doesn't get better than them.
Yeah, although I could go without hearing Highway to Hell ever again.
It might be overplayed a little bit. Yeah.
Have you ever heard about the myth about the secret racist word?
No.
Yeah, if you after this, if you play the song Highway to Hell, and they say season ticket on a one-way ride.
Yes.
The myth is that Bon Scott, for a laugh, said a certain word that we can't say on the air. Instead of season ticket, he said the offensive term, and it's really audible. Yeah.
Wow. Oh my God, Bon Scott, come
on. Not that I would ever say it, of course, and particularly not Mike Durband, who has Roots posters all around his house.
Oh my God, it's a little weird, but okay, Those Chicago boys, they're nuts,
Oh, and a half.
Yes. But today's topic, Pro Wrestling 101, as we're getting off into a tangent, want to talk about YouTube growth. And that is such a big part of wrestling. Like every wrestler has a YouTube, every podcast has a YouTube trying to monetize. You have been able to basically single-handedly take the Conan brand, the K100 brand, and dominate YouTube. When you got it, you see, it's at a certain point, but then you took it to another level. What do you think it is that everybody is on YouTube trying to do? Is it specifically monetization or is it promotion as well?
Well, basically both. Like I can, well, I can't go into detail. Well, yeah, I can go into minor detail. I can tell you that there was a this month, I should say, a couple of weeks ago, K100 did enough that everybody made just. I think it came up to just slightly under $2,000 each.
Wow.
It was a nice bump because, but the thing is, it's. I think that because you always hear people talking about Patreon, Patreon, all that shit. But I think that people underestimate how much money can be made on YouTube. I say to Joe all the time that keep 100 sitting on this gold mine, but they seem to focus too much on the Patreon. Where I think they could easily be making a minimum 10 grand a month, uh, if they didn't focus so much on Patreon, more on YouTube, because look, what do you call the guy, Hannibal TV?
Oh yeah, good buddy of
He
mine.
did
Yeah.
he did the research on Jim Cornette and worked out that Cornette's making between 50 to 60 grand a month from his YouTube alone.
Oh my God, Jesus, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's insane, and it is possible to make millions, and that's why I think that with YouTube, while it takes fucking forever to get any form of traction, that once it starts working, it stays working, if that makes sense.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, seems like you got a pretty good formula with K100 because it's been growing ever since. It doesn't stop.
But the really the best way to do a YouTube channel, I think, is to be as condescending as possible, because luckily for Keeping It 100, it's a wrestling show. This is hardly a Sherlock Holmes investigation discovery that 99% of wrestling fans are fucking stupid people. They are so dumb that it's actually kind of intimidating at times. Uh, I can completely lie in the title. I could take if and also so you can do the most vague title possible, and knowing idiots, they'll click on it, they'll fall for it. That's why clickbait was invented by the Jews. I mean, I'm only joking. The Nazis, the Jews aren't smart enough to invent anything. Okay, keep that in. So yeah, and then if there happens to be some sort of conversation about one of those wrestling whores, otherwise known as women, I think they're called these days.
Yes.
If you put a picture of a woman in a video, it's going to instantly get thousands and thousands of views, because as I say, wrestling fans are all incels. If they do have girls, they're ugly or they're in terrible condition. They don't know what it's like to have a Sasha Banks's fucking arse or whatever. So if you find a picture of her online, kind of turned sideways, you're sticking her arse out a bit, put that in the thumbnail, and these incels are like, the female anatomy.
I love it. It's interesting. There's I won't mention who, but there's a wrestling promotion out there that got so big and everyone was kind of curious how they had so many views. And then you go to their top videos and it was a man fighting a woman in a real match. But the picture that they put as the thumbnail or whatever was basically like not vulgar, but it's to the point where like, what the hell is this guy and the girl doing in the match? Then you click on it. A lot of their stuff was coming from India and overseas and stuff were maybe, and I asked a buddy of mine, he's like, I think they were considering it pornography over there. Like, oh my God, it's on YouTube. Watch, watch, watch. But that's how they grew so much. And I was like, man, because that promotion has a niche audience. But I was like, they're not 70 million views on a video. And then they explained that to me. I was like, wow, to put the woman on there, have the guy, maybe could do something vulgar, but really interesting stuff. Psychology of the stupid fan, I guess you could say, like you mentioned.
Yeah, but that's why Hannibal TV. I can't remember his real name.
Devin.
Whatever. I'll prefer Hannibal. Hannibal, Mr. TV. But
Yes.
that's why he's a fucking thumbnail genius, because if he has a match between, I don't know, Mary Firework versus Ruby fucking Ice Cream, whatever the names, he goes through the whole match frame by frame and he looks for the best thumbnail of them both being like bent over, or someone who puts their arse in the camera. Click. there's your thumbnail, and it's going to two indie scene nobodies in a match that's just got like 17,000 views. Like that's the thing. That's the great thing about pro wrestling. What's got to be about pro wrestling is that the fans have never been more gullible, and it's time to take full advantage and fuck them.
So you're thinking obvious stuff, dumb fans. Like you trick them with headlines and pictures, essentially.
Yeah, sure. If you look at Keeping the 100's YouTube at the time of recording this, we're at 19,500,000 views, and it's growing every day because what we'll do is if there's what I Adam Hughes will do is if there's a conversation about AEW, who has the most easily triggered fans in the world. They're more easily offended than Spike Lee at a fucking Boston after hours bar. You know what I'm saying? Mike Durban would know about those words, but I'm just saying. I'll make it seem like this goes trashing AEW, and those AEW fans will come out just leaving dozens of comments. Fuck you, Disco. What did you ever know? What did you ever do? And what they don't know is, and even me saying this, they'll still do it because YouTube's free. They don't realize how financially beneficial it can be. So because they're leaving comments for free, they don't understand that they're actually helping the channel.
Of course.
Yep. So that's why sometimes I'll put some unnecessary burial video up on my own channel or the Keeping 100 channel, knowing that the negative reaction this is going to get. And they think that, see, the great thing is YouTube has reversed trolling in that if someone leaves you a bunch of hate mail on like Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, it just it annoys you. But if they do it on YouTube, it makes your view count go up. So that's why I always tell people, if you want to talk shit to me, find me on YouTube.
Right. Makes sense. That is true. The AEW fans are somewhat unreasonable at times. They're very, very cultish. They're very into their AEW.
But the thing that's so great about it is that Disco Inferno, despite all the joking he does, he makes these crazy predictions. And 9 out of 10 times he's proven right.
Yep.
And then so he is the greatest heel AEW has ever had. If I was Tony Khan and I wish I had his bank account, I would honestly offer him a job. But then if they did, that he'd leave Keeping 100 and we'd all be fucked.
Yes. I feel like, too, a lot of the fans are always like, oh, Disco never drew or Disco didn't do that. Like, they don't really understand the character or the time or Disco at all, even though he Wrestling Observer, and I think it was 95. He was Gimmick of the Year. So any Meltzer fans, AW fans out there, sometime, some point, you guys were giving him credit. But I think that's funny because I've talked to Kevin Sullivan, Jericho just a very little bit, obviously Conan, Disco, obviously, a bunch of other guys behind the scenes, and they would say they would do an MVP voting. Not Kevin so much, but he knew about it. An MVP voting of the night. Who had the best match? Who's the MVP of the night? Disco would win a lot. So behind the scenes, the people in charge or in wrestling business understood Disco. These fans outside of wrestling think that they understand it, but they don't really understand it.
Yeah, and the thing about Disco is a lot of the stuff he said about how people should work safer is true. I mean, Disco's in his 50s and he could honestly pass for, I think, late 30s. Like, he's still in amazing shape. He still has, well, he doesn't have all of his hair, but he's still got hair. And the only time you can tell he's a bit older is when he lets his beard grow and it's all grey. And but people don't understand it. Disco's a multi-millionaire, so like he's right. He saved a lot of his money. He's still healthy in great shape. He didn't get strung out on pills and all that shit. Like, if you look at who do you think's aged better between Disco Inferno or Conan?
Oh, Disco, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Conan looks like he survived the fucking plane crash.
Well, yeah, he's had a lot of health issues, yeah, for sure.
Oh, God, yeah. Freddie Mercury's anus looks down on Conan.
Are you just upset that he won't do your show? Is that why?
He's banned. I've
I don't know.
officially now.
He says he's not doing the show.
That's good because I've officially banned him.
Where is his YouTube right now, by the way? Because he said if you get to 55,000, he would do a cameo.
It's up to about 33,000 at the minute.
Oh, so it's going up and up and up even further. Okay, I thought it was
It
at
is,
30.
but
Okay,
I don't want his cameo. I don't want his interview. I want nothing from him.
not a Conan fan right now.
I think he peaked at Max Moon. And I
Wow.
also
Ouch.
love Vampiro and Psychosis 2, the guy that attacked him. I'm huge fans. And who else does he hate?
Juventude.
I love the Juice. Close personal friend of mine.
Finally, the juice has come back to K100. With the YouTube growth and with Conan, what is the formula? Do you listen to the show and then clip it? Do they send you a completed show? Like, how do you get your clips, basically? How do you get your content?
Yeah, well, I'm lucky in that on Monday and Tuesday I get to work from home. So and because of that, instead of going running on the treadmill, I'll sleep in a bit and I'll go for a long walk around my manor.
Nice.
And I'll listen to the show, and I've got my little phone here. It's so cute.
Nice.
And I'll be listening to Conan on Cody Rhodes's bad promos, Disco Inferno on Goldberg versus Kevin Nash or whatever the fuck, something topical like that. But with the thing is, I always say, because when I do an interview, like I have an interview coming up with a comedian called Gino Bisconti. Hold your applause. And I've already got the whole thing. Well, you can't really see it there. I've already got all the topics bullet pointed, knowing that that'll be like 8 questions. So that'll be 8 YouTube clips that I can put on my own channel. And that's how I would structure the show. Because I always think that it's a shame that with Keeping It 100 is that they do 2.5 hour episodes, yet sometimes only 20 minutes of it's clippable. Whereas for me, if I had that show with that kind of audience, the whole fucking thing would be structured around, right, how can we monetize everything? We'll do Patreon, we'll do podcast ads, we'll have fucking really long clips for YouTube and shit, because that's the other thing. YouTube has gone more and more PC as life goes on.
Yes.
If you go and you keep it 100 YouTube, I've started the clip, I've started to bleep every swear word. You can't say COVID on YouTube, so probably shouldn't have said it here. Obviously you can't say gay jokes or jokes about the you-know-whats. Not that I have a problem with them, Mike Durban might, but and that's why YouTube's getting more and more PC, and they always change the rules. Like now, if something goes over 8 minutes, you can put multiple ads in it. So that's why I think that for Keeping 100, the longer the better, and the more gullible the marks, the better. Aha.
Yes. So how else do you become successful? Like, how did people notice you? Do you promote it elsewhere? Do you promote it YouTube? Do you do ads? Like, how do you get people, or is it just word of mouth, or is it just somewhere somebody clicks on one video and it kind of rolls into yours?
Well, that was the thing. That was the thing that was so frustrating about the channel, is that it took like 6 or 7 months, maybe even 8 months, to get any form of view count or subscribers. Where like we couldn't get any video that would get over 7 or 8 views. The subscriber count was like 300 for a long time, and I kept thinking, why is this not taken off? It's got all the big names like the Chris Jerichos and stuff. Why are they not clicking on this? And then I was looking at these other channels that were doing the same sort of thing, like the Mark channels, and they had the most vague possible titles. Like it wouldn't be like Chris Jericho talks about wrestling Shawn Michaels. It would instead be they would say stuff like Chris Jericho reveals his all-time favorite opponent. And these words like reveals and truth and the real reason for the heat and all that shit. And then you use keywords like that, and then pictures of ladies showing off their their arses are a big fucking bitch. It always works. And then, of course, once AEW started, that was when YouTube just really took off because like they specifically targeted the nerdy mark crowd. It's like when Marvel Studios started all the crossover shit, that they took advantage of all the nerds, the real like I'm one of them 100%. Where it's like, holy fuck, I loved Iron Man, and now they're doing crossovers. So now I've got to see Ant-Man, I've got to see Captain Marvel, Thor 3, have to see that. So and that's why it all just rolls over into each other of clickbait and hang-ons and Klingons and curiosities and ladies.
Yes. With that though, like, okay, so people start realizing who you are, they start taking notice. Is there something to keep them? Like, do you do playlists? Like, what's a way to kind of keep them?
Well, what I'll do is for about an hour during my lunch break and work, because of the comment section, I'll reply to some of the new comments at least. Because despite the fact that on the podcast they've said thanks to Hughesley for running the YouTube over there at every episode for about 3 or 4 years, a lot of the subscribers still think that I'm Conan or Disco.
Right.
So they'll keep leaving comments and asking questions, which I answer and then explain I'm not Conan.
Right.
So they think they're interacting with uh world renowned megastar Disco Inferno, but they're not. So I like to keep it interactive, and plus with the thumbnails, when I have time, I like to get more inventive and do stuff like film parody thumbnails. Like, but we've been told we're not allowed to make fun of that shithead Tony Khan anymore. So that's taking it.
What?
Yeah, he's a fucking he is the snowflake that everybody goes, oh, he's weak, he's a dick. He actually is.
That's an edict from Conan?
Yeah, I was told that I can't do it to make fun of Tony, which was a shame because he's so easy to fucking make fun of.
Do you also think when you're doing YouTube and doing the videos and everything else, obviously you're thinking about getting as much as possible, but are you always thinking about the other keywords and like that kind of stuff too? Because I noticed a lot of wrestling interviews, even though they're not, everyone puts shoot interview, they're shooting, bury. Like, do you keep up with that stuff as well?
Yeah, that's there's see the best thing is that there are like to say the keyword shoot interview and all that shit,
Hmm.
but that's it's like there's a channel on there called WrestleLamia or something like that,
Yep.
and it drives me up the fucking wall. I don't know how they get away with violating the copyright rules that they do. They use literal video footage of the WWE and the most clickbaitable titles you can imagine. But the thing is, but that's what these fucking fans are into. They want you to lie to them, like because it'd be like they would rather hear Dave Meltzer or that fucking what culture bunch of cunts talking about something that happened to Conan than hear Conan himself talk about it. They they
Right.
they
Very
want
weird.
they want you to lie to them.
I
It's
always
like
found that weird. Yeah, that is so true. They always kind of listen to the other person, but the actual guy telling the story can actually give you the story.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like dating a girl that's starting to gain weight, and they ask you, "Do you think I'm getting fat, or do you think I'm gaining weight?" They actually want you to say no, even though they fucking have had to go up 2 or 3 dress sizes. That's the real problem. That it's a scary it's a, it's a scary time. Like that's why I always worry for the safety of a lot of women and things. Because somebody like wasn't there a guy who broke into what was called Sonia Deville,
Yeah.
who's been very open about the fact that she's a gay woman her whole life, and so this fan was planning to fucking break into her house and kidnap her because he loved her.
Yeah. Crazy.
And the problem is the what culture types encourage that sort of behavior, whereas Keeping 100 will tell people you're a fucked up mark.
Yeah, big time. And then they'll say, like, I saw something on YouTube. One of those guys was like, "Oh, Finn Balor, he's got such a big blank. That's why the rope broke in the match against the Roman." I was like, "Holy crap! These guys are creepy. Not even funny. I mean, just creepy guys." I think it was a What Culture guy. I don't remember his name, but I was like, "What a weird thing to say."
But
Jeez.
you know what pisses me off the most about those people, and it's again, I don't encourage cancel culture, but one of those guys is called Adam Blampide or something
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yep.
He a couple of years ago, you may or may not know this, got caught out asking underage teen girls to send him like nude photos and suggested photos. So he took like a year and a half off, and then came back. It's like who the fuck? Like I'm dying to for him to get in front of me. You know what I'm talking about?
Jeez, yeah.
All kinds of stone cold stunners.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
So
but the thing is, Marx will look past that and be like, but he's so positive about AEW. It's like he's also positive about kindergarten fucking cop.
yeah, pretty creepy stuff.
Yeah,
Weird stuff.
that's the shit that. That's what I would love it for Conan and Disco to spend like 20 minutes just burying the fuck out of these types of mark channels. I have no idea how they exist. Like it drives me fucking crazy.
The fan base has gotten strange. Like they don't really watch or know anything and they don't really know the history, but they're somehow fan it's a real fascinating world out there. Like they rather listen to I don't know, just random dude talking about wrestling than like you said, like Conan and Disco talking about wrestling. I mean, it's really, really weird stuff. I don't get it.
Yeah, I did an interview with a comedian called Jim Florentine, and in it we were talking
Hey, I
about
love Jimmy Florentine. Yeah.
and we were talking about Van Halen, and and one of the questions, and the video got a couple of thousand hits, and I always thought, why? How the fuck? Like, what the fuck would either of us know about Van Halen on tour?
Right.
You know, and like I'm glad it did, but it's like, all right,
Love Jim Florentine. I interviewed him a few times. Actually, a big, or used to be, a big wrestling fan.
yeah. Of course, there's the famous story where he was sexually molested at a wrestling show.
And basically, the guy tricked him with 8x10s and stuff. Like he was going to give him pictures of the wrestlers. Like, hey, I got Bruno Sammartino and, Superstar Billy Graham. Like he was, a really sick, twisted guy. Really crazy stuff. But Jim makes a joke out of it now. Like, obviously, he had to grow past it, but, he was making funny jokes about it.
It's probably that fucking Adam Blampide guy. But the other great thing about this YouTube stuff is how it can so easily catch attention. Like that shithead Sean Ross Sapp, who I don't like. He did a thing where on AW Chris Jericho. Like to be fair, I didn't see it, so he probably proved me wrong and all that shit. Chris Jericho made some type of joke about a tag team, and he said who's on top
Right.
because it was two
Yep.
guys.
Yep.
And so fucking Sap goes on Twitter and he's like, oh, homophobia. So we uploaded a video talking about that and how it's ridiculous that there's no way Jericho's a fucking homophobe. Like he just literally that week was on Dark Side of the Ring talking about Chris Canyon and all that shit. And now so we bashed him in that. I made fun of him in the comments. So that fucking snowflake, Sean Ross Sapp, and his reaction to being called a snowflake, came into the comment section himself and was arguing with me. And all the fans could see it and were taking sides and all this stuff. He's a cunt. Plus, another thing I have to say about the YouTube, the Keeping 100 show is, while the numbers aren't huge, the people that listen to it, the demos there, man.
Yeah.
the demographic is more often than not the wrestlers who are in the industry. Where I've specifically seen people like Ryback and Killer Cross, or sorry, Karrion Cross, Brian Cage, and some female wrestlers in the comments section. And it's like, see, and that's why we're different to the fucking the what culture dickheads and the fucking I can't think of anything else. Wrestle
So,
Talk.
whoa, not a fan of them, but it is great growth. Like you said, 20 million plus views, and you guys keep going up and up. So obviously, there's been some success there, and even you said your own page, which you've grown, right?
Yes, I can
Ah,
happily say that at the minute I've got over 10,000 subscribers. But the thing about my YouTube that is, I can't understand it, but I shouldn't really complain because it's better than nothing. But of course, you're a hard Stern fan. You know, Shuli Igor.
yes.
I interviewed the great Shuli, and it was a very funny interview. Uh, Only thanks to my questions. That's the only funny part about it. Don't worry about it. I put it up in clip form first of like 9 clips, and I think in total overall, they probably got like 100,000. Well, maybe not 100,000, but like 80 to 70,000 views if you added up all the clips together. So I thought, obviously, I'm going to upload the full video, the 40-minute long video. This is going to be huge, and after nearly 2 weeks, it has like something like 300 views. I don't know why. But that's just
Weird, but they wanted it clipped. They only wanted, I guess, in parts, not the whole thing.
true. But it's a shame, but it's still there to watch on the crapper.
Yes, that's the best place to do it. Now, as far as like a summary of everything, vague titles, good thumbnails, good content. What else? In summary, that am I missing there?
Bright colors and women. Basically, treat it like it's a poster for a fucking James Bond. Well, maybe an older James Bond, not these modern woke fucking shits.
Not a fan of No Time to Die coming out.
I'm going to actually see it tomorrow.
Whoa, a week early. What the hell?
Yeah, I've also already seen The Many Saints of Newark, the Sopranos film.
Is you talking about seeing it online or you saw it in the movies?
Yeah, in the cinema.
Oh, what do you guys get a week early over there?
Yeah, because America tends to
Yeah,
bootleg everything anyway, because a lot of it's going straight to streaming in America. But over
because
here,
10/8. What is 10/8? Is that Friday? 10/8 is when over here is when Bond's supposed to come out.
yeah, you think you get it next Wednesday, I think. Not too sure.
I gotta watch.
But yeah, so I've seen The Many Saints in New York, which was excellent, by the way. So definitely go see that.
Not a
Uh,
Sopranos guy. Not a Sopranos fan.
you're not?
No, not at all.
Jesus Christ! Did your wife know about that?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It's a good show and a good premise. Just it's not don't like it. I don't like the wife. I don't like the daughter. I don't like the son. I wanted Johnny Sack to kill them all. Stuff like that. There's a couple great characters, like little Stevie is on the show. I don't know if I'm really believing him as a mafia guy. Obviously, Tony Soprano's a great actor, and he was great. But there's too many other characters and ancillary characters in the show. It's just like you didn't need it. It was almost time filler. I just didn't like a lot of parts of the show.
Just as a cheap plug, speaking of my YouTube, previous guest I had way last year was Vincent Curatola, who played Johnny Sack.
Really? Get out of here.
Oh yeah. So if
Oh,
you
I'm
go
gonna
on
have to
my
check that out.
YouTube,
Yeah, I have to check that
yeah,
out. He was great. He was probably my favorite character on that show.
yeah, very right wing. Because I'm not like a racist guy, but I just don't like soft people. So when I kind of mentioned my short fuse for people like that, he started to love me. And I got Johnny Sack to cut a promo on Conan.
Oh, damn, nice. That's a good get. Nice.
Oh yeah. Well, but that's the thing about with you, it is weird how some people can become available for interviews. Because a question I get asked all the time is, how the fuck do you get these people on your show? And it's like, just ask. It's like,
Right.
how did you get to marry your wife? It's like, because I fucking asked the bitch. And I says, do you want me to slap you, or you want to put this ring on? That's how you
Right.
propose to her,
Yeah, you
right?
gotta do it.
Pause.
Yeah, you gotta figure out a way to just do it.
Yeah, but but I always say to everyone is that, like, it's the greatest promotional tool, because you can't really skim through iTunes and stuff like that on the toilet. But with YouTube, you can see all these little clips that go, oh wow, a Francine podcast. I loved her from fucking ECW, or Conan and Disco, and there's always stories and all kinds of shit. It's it's a fun, yeah. Here's my hot take: YouTube is a fun, good service.
There you go. Well said, actually. Really well said. Very poignant there. So with you, I know you've got It's Usually Hello, you're doing the Conan stuff behind the scenes. They call you usually. You got Dork Side of the Ring now. What else you got going on? Give us all the shows.
Well, we've got Dork Side of the Ring, which is about to record a third episode this weekend. It's
Not
going to be
happy
about.
with the Jericho burial, by the way. Did not happy about that.
You didn't like that one?
I love Jericho. Come on, guys.
Yeah, well, I do love him, but I just don't like what's happened with him in AEW. It's
All right, fair.
shit.
Okay.
But we've got a good one coming. We're recording this weekend, I think. It's going to be about the Sean Ross Sapp thing, and then it's going to be about a lot of dirt sheet writers in general. But just, I don't like the fakeness and the biasness, and also what I can't stand is, and I'm not trying to get political here, but why they're so quick to call out people like Jericho for making a so-called homophobic joke, which it wasn't at all. It was just a making fun of a pun name. But we're going to talk about that, and then the fact that AEW in this day and age, it's the majority white roster, and that's just not a good look, because, like, if you look at WWE, they've got Samoan wrestlers, and Roman Reigns is a champion. Big E's black. He just beat Bobby Lashley, who's also black. And that's not just my opinion. I can confirm it. And then you get a lot of, Bianca Belair is black. Sasha Banks. There's a lot of, the representation that these fucking snowflake liberals like Sean Ross Sapp want, but they don't praise them for it. Yeah, and then they don't call out fucking AEW for being majority white. So we're going to get them on that. Get my goals back on a much more
Yeah, there
reduced,
you go.
on a much more reduced schedule, because that was the great thing about the first season, is that it was right in the middle of the peak lockdown where you couldn't do shit. So so everybody had, after you got your work done, you had like fucking 48 hours of free time. So it's like, okay, I could sit here and record a fucking 4-hour episode calling John Wanglin the you know what, because he talks like a you know what and he looks like one. And but the problem with that is schedule. And plus also, I think with the Get My Go, it needs a jolly good reboot, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Hey, season 2's out there. Before we let you go, give us all the plugs where everybody can find you.
Yes, I'm at the Hughesy on Twitter, at the Hughesy on Instagram. That's HUGHEZY. If you're a pro wrestling fan, you want to hear it being spoken about by the experts, go to Keep It 100 official on YouTube. If you have been annoyed by me at all in this, leave lots of insulting comments in this YouTube video comment section, because that'll really annoy me if you leave loads of comments here. And just if you happen to watch anybody's video on YouTube, whether it's mine, Keeping 100s, one of John Poz's, Vince Russo's, whatever the fuck, drop a like and leave a comment and do stuff to interact, because if you don't interact, channels go what's the term stagnant? Is that the word?
Yes. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
There you go. And they need to be interacted with. It's like a woman's breast. You can't just leave it there. You've got to, you've got to work your way around that fucking thing.
Very true. Well said again, man. You were the master of the English language there. You're being very direct. I love it.
Ah, so kind, so kind.
But Yuzi, thank you so much for all the time today. Obviously, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at 2Man Power Trip. Check out the website, tmptempire.com. Thank you, Yuzi, for all the time. Appreciate it, buddy.
You're very
Everyone
welcome,
out.
Chad.
Oh, Jesus. Thank you, Yuzi. Thank you, everybody out there, for listening. We'll see you right back here next week for a little Pro Wrestling 101. See you next week, folks.